Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Sultan's inflation rate rises 1.33% in September. A local company is to be established for ground handling services at the Sultan's airports. And Iraqi forces announced its control over Kirkuk city and advance towards Mosul. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Sultanate registered a year-on-year inflation rate of 1.33% for September 2016, driven mainly by 6.57% rise in prices in the transport sector and a 0.77% rise in housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels sector. Furnishings, household equipment and routine household maintenance went up by 0.92%, according to the latest report published in the National Center for Statistics and Information. Health prices increased by 0.91%. Education registered a rise of 3.03%. Restaurants and hotels by 0.37%. Goods and different services by 0.4%. In contrast, group of foodstuff and beverage prices went down by 0.77%. The governorate of Dhofar witnessed the highest inflation rate by 2.66%, followed by the governorates of North and South Sharqiya by 1.46% and the governorates of Muscat by 1.01%. In order to acquaint women with the causes of breast cancer, early diagnosis and treatment methods, Sultan Qaboos University Hospital, in cooperation with Oman Breast Cancer Association, organized a workshop under the title We Care. The event was presided over by Her Highness Sayyida Dr. Muna bint Fahad Al Saeed. In 1985, the month of October was selected to be the month of breast cancer awareness. Every year in the world, some 149 breast cancer cases were detected in 2011, according to latest statistics of the Ministry of Health. The event stressed the need to encourage regular self-examination and promote good health practices and regular medical checkup. In an endeavor to speed up provided services to passengers at the Sultan's airports, an agreement was signed in Muscat to establish a local company to provide ground handling services at Muscat International Airport as a first stage. The agreement was signed between Al Jarwani Group and International Swiss Port that came to enhance handling services with international standards. The agreement also included training and qualifying national manpower to work in this sector during the upcoming period, which coincides with the Sultan's vision to qualify Muscat International Airport to be among the best 20 airports in the world by 2020. The statistics issued by the National Ferries Company NFC revealed a growth by 12.5% in passenger traffic and 4% in the number of vehicles transported on board of NFC ferries as of the end of the third quarter of 2016 compared to the same period last year. Nabhan bin Mohammed Al Nabhani, Media and Public Relations Manager, said the NFC transported 165,882 passengers during the first 9 months of 2016, compared to 147,380 passengers during the same period last year. It also transported 39,667 vehicles as of the end of September 2016, compared to 38,155 vehicles during the same period last year. The company also transported 12,741 tons of goods as of the end of September 2016. He added the turnout by passengers, especially on the Omani side, for NFC recently launched routes to Qashm Island and Bandar Abbas is growing. The Ministry of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources is continuing the implementation of a campaign to eradicate some bad practices that harm the environment and beautiful landscapes. The campaign targets various governorates of the Sultanate. Within this context, a seminar was organized in the Wilaya of Shinas and the Governorate of North Batna. It stressed the importance of cooperation between individuals and concerned bodies to achieve the public hygiene and protect the environment. It also discussed best ways to get rid of personal and construction remnants and the need to adhere to regulations in this regard. In order to preserve Omani traditions, the third Bofar Festival of Camel Racing was organized at Al Abyad Racetrack in the Wilaya of Mudaybi. 20 rounds were allocated for Al Hagayg category in the participation of more than 800 purebred camels, which competed to win 3 places in each round. The festival attracted many camel owners and trainers from inside the Sultanate and Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Still to come, our news bulletin. Every year, tens of thousands of enthusiasts from all over the world descend in Alba for its White Truffle Fair. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. On other news, UN experts said in a report that the Syrian army attacked a village of Qimas with chemical weapons in March 2015, but they were unable to determine who was responsible for the 2 other chemical weapons attack against Binish in Idlib province in March 2015 and Kafr Zita in Hama province in April 2014. The report was presented yesterday to the UN Security Council. The UN-led Joint Investigative Mechanisms JIM in late August reported that Syrian government forces had carried out at least 2 chemical attacks in 2014 and 2015, and that the Daesh group had used mustard gas as a weapon. Of the 9 total alleged chemical attacks it is considering in its ongoing probe. The GM has now attributed 3 to the Syrian government and 1 to the Daesh group. Syria agreed to get rid of its chemical stockpile and to refrain from making any use of toxic substances in warfare when it joined the Chemical Weapons Convention in 2013 under pressure from Russia. Iraqi forces pushed into a town to the southeast of the Daesh-held city of Mosul today after a wave of militant attacks in and around the northern city of Kirkuk set off more than 24 hours of heavy clashes with ongoing skirmishes in some areas. U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter, meanwhile, arrived in Baghdad on an unannounced visit to meet with Iraqi commanders to discuss the offensive to retake Mosul, which the U.S. is supporting with airstrikes and advisors on the ground. The Iraqi army said the 9th Division has pushed into the town of Hamdaniya and Bakhtida and raised the flag over its central government compound, where the troops were likely still facing resistance in and around town. The town is around 20 kilometers from Mosul. Iraqi forces launched a wide-scale offensive earlier this week aimed at retaking Mosul, the country's second largest city, which fell to Daesh. 19 people died when a helicopter carrying oil and gas field workers crashed in a remote area of Siberia in bad weather. The Mi-8 helicopter carrying 22 people, including 3 crew, crashed last night in the far northern Femalo-Nenetsky region, some 2,400 kilometers northeast of Moscow. According to the local emergencies ministry, the helicopter broken into 2 pieces on snowy smoothland close to woods. Fog and poor visibility had hindered the search for the crash site, as well as the rescue operations. Russia's civil aviation authorities said that based on preliminary data, the incident could be linked to the weather conditions with low cloud, falling snow and gusty winds. The helicopter was made in 1984 and had a flight safety license valid until 2017. In the US, cyber attacks pounded the underpinnings of the internet yesterday, crippling Twitter, Netflix and other major websites with the help of once-dumb service devices made smart with online connections. Waves of attacks in capacitated of crucial piece of internet infrastructure, hampering or outright blocking access to popular online venues. The attack was said to be a troubling new spin on an old hacker attack known as distributed denial of service, DDoS, where millions of devices in the first growing Internet of Things took part in the cyber onslaught. Armies of computers infected with malicious code are typically used in DDoS attacks, which involved flooding websites with more traffic than they can handle, making them difficult to access or taking them offline entirely. Domain name and servers are a crucial element of Internet infrastructure, covering numbered Internet protocol addresses into the domain names that allow users to connect to Internet sites. Giovanni Saccheto is hunting for white truffles with his dog, Dora, in the woods around Alba in the Piedmont region of northern Italy. And he's not alone. The region is home of some 4,000 truffle hunters, and more dogs have been trained to sniff them. Here is a report.
She's not just man's best friend. For Giovanni Saccheto, little Dora is worth her weight in gold. For 9 years, they've been combing the woods around Alba in northern Italy together, hunting for the celebrated white truffles. The hard-to-find fungi are so highly prized that they can sell for as much as €4,000 a kilo.
A truffle is a strange thing, and because it is strange, it's a lovely thing. You never know where you might find one. That's the truffle hunter's life. It's not a job, it's a passion.
And he's not alone. The Piedmont region is home to some 4,000 truffle hunters and even more dogs who have been trained to sniff them out.
A dog, it's something else. I'm not saying it's better than a wife, but for a truffle hunter, his dog is something indescribable.
Every year, tens of thousands of enthusiasts from all over the world descend on Alba for its white truffle fair.
Just the scent is something unique. The taste a bit less, but it's especially the smell, the structure. Personally, I like it best with something simple, just on some pasta or a risotto.
Top chefs are always looking for new ways to use the prized product.
It is such a pure product of nature. that we chefs have to be at the service of the truffle and not the other way round.
Italy's asked UNESCO to hold its truffle culture to its list of expressions of humanity's intangible heritage. And a funding campaign has been launched to raise €50,000 to help protect the truffle zones around Alba.
Now for the general forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies prevail over most of the governorates with chances of low clouds and fog early morning and late night on the coast of governorates of South Sharqiya and Wusta. Winds will be north to northeasterly light to moderate over the coast of the Sea of Oman, while along the rest of the coast it will be south to southeasterly light to moderate. And seas will be slight along most of the coast with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultan of Oman Television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The census inflation rate rises 1.33% in September. A local company is to be established for ground handling services at the Sultan's airports. And the Iraqi forces announce its control over Kirkuk city and advance towards Mosul. And with that, come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in newsroom and the studios, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Good night.